Later in the same year, a consultation paper on, and its quote, reforms of family law was issued. Post that, the panel observed, and I quote, since more than 3 years have lapsed from the date of issuance of the said consultation paper, bearing in mind the relevance and importance of the subject and also the various court codes on the subject, the 22nd Law Commission of India considered it expedient to deliberate afresh over the subject. Close quote. Is the UCC in sync with one nation, one rule theory as has been propagated by the ruling BJP dispensation? And also very importantly, because I said it's a very politically sensitive issue, also could it work as a mantra for the 2024 elections? Or is it totally at variance with what the constitution entails for every citizen of this country? Let's debate, but before that, let's listen to some voices on the issue.
उत्तराखंड के राज्य में निवास करने वाले सभी नागरिकों के व्यक्तिगत नागरिक मामलों को नियंत्रित करने वाले प्रासंगिक कानूनों का परीक्षण करेगी। इन कानूनों में क्या कुछ कमियां हैं जिसे दूर किया जाना है, क्या कुछ विषमताएं हैं जिसे ढका जाना है, और क्या इस परिप्रेक्ष्य में राज्य में समान नागरिक संहिता के एक अम्ब्रेला के तहत एक अम्ब्रेला लेजिस्लेशन लाया जाए जो कि सभी समुदायों के लिए, सभी धर्म के लिए व्यक्तिगत नागरिक मामलों को एक रूप कानूनी आवरण पहना सके।
Let's welcome the guest. Lieutenant Commander retired Gokul Chandran is now joining us live. He's a political analyst, and also I have with me Sanjay K. Chadda, who's a Supreme Court lawyer. A very warm welcome to both of you. Mr. Chadda, I want to start with you because Uniform Civil Code, as I understand it, all sections of society, irrespective of their religion, shall be treated equally according to the National Civil Code, right? But then there is a directive principle also, that is Article 44. Why don't you, for the benefit of the audiences, explain what is Article 44, what we may think is mandatory? Our fathers of the Constitution did not really make it mandatory, Mr. Chadda.
Well, thank you very much, Sudha. And to begin with, what exactly I think I will say, what is Common Civil Code? The Common Civil Code, it is, more or less, civil code is same. If a Muslim has to file a suit for recovery, it is same. A Hindu has to file a suit. Only three things which are to be like issues pertaining to marriage, divorce, etc. That is one issue. Inheritance, that is another issue. Third is maintenance and adoption and maintenance. These are the three issues which are going to be changed if a common civil code has come and everybody has to be following the same thing as state of Goa has. Now, this is what is Common Civil Code. Number two, your question is, what is Article 44? Article 44 of the Constitution is directive principle of state policy. The Constitution makers have given recommended certain directives that while following the policy, mandated the governments to follow, and in the future course, please follow all these, like having good environment. You think about that. Similarly, Article 44 is a directive given to the governments that please, in the time to come in future, kindly endeavor to have common civil code whenever
Mr. Chadda, the Article 37 of the Constitution, you have Article 44 directive principles. Article 37 also make it very clear, and I'm reading it, I don't want to make any mistakes. It shall not be enforceable by any court. Nevertheless, they are fundamental in the governance of the country. So it seems that, the Constitution itself believes that a uniform civil code should be implemented, but it is not mandatory. So look at the dichotomy. And I think it is because it is such a diverse country, Mr. Chadda, that you can't possibly have a uniform civil code. Let me ask you something before I go to the other guest, Mr. Chadda. You are a lawyer, of course. You will go by what is written in the book. But as a citizen of this country, do you support a uniform civil code?
No, as a citizen of this country, I would say, even the Supreme Court has said, and I would also say, yes, I support it. Why? There are not in it, there are exceptions in the law. If something which is entering into the personal territory, let's say some religion, some custom or some usage which a community is using, and these laws are entering into it and restraining it or creating some problem qua that, then in that case an exception can be created. That is why say that,
Mr. Chadda, like
yes,
the tribals of this country, I'm not
correct,
getting into communities. They have their own laws of marriage,
yes,
their own tradition. If you are going to start creating exceptions, get ready. You may have to possibly create 59 exceptions. The tribal communities of Madhya Pradesh are different from the tribal communities of Tamil Nadu, different from the tribal communities of Bengal, different from tribal communities in the Northeast. What are you going to do? I'll come back to you. But that's why I said it's a political debate. One nation, one rule. That is the theory of the BJP. It has said that there will be no different rules. No,
I want to say only one line. Please allow me. Saying one line only. I will not take much of time.
No, please.
What I am saying is, it's not possible. One law, one nation. It cannot be possible. You have to create those exceptions. That's what. Because we are a country of diversity. We have different customs, rules. Everything is there. Now this nation only, you go to Kerala, you go to other states, you get beef like as if it is an ordinary mutton you are buying. Is it possible in rest of the part? No. So that exception is there. And that is why before making the law, there is a need of greater discussion and these exceptions.
Yeah, that is what they are seeking.
70 exceptions, yes. There will be 70 exceptions.
All right. Sanjay Rana, let me also welcome you. Gokul, welcome once again. Sanjay Rana, do you think, let's look at the political aspect of it at all, because we have a lawyer and we have two political analysts. Sanjay Rana, do you think that this is BJP's trump card for 2024 elections, because they have always sought the UCC, many of their chief ministers like Dhami, everyone has said we should have a uniform civil code. Do you think that this is their turup ka patta, as they say in Hindi? Sanjay ji.
Yeah, good afternoon and good afternoon to my fellow panelists. First of all, I don't think so is the turup ka patta for BJP. Obviously, it's required it's very, very important for our country to have such kind of law, because what it gives, it covers like a marriage, divorce, maintenance, inheritance, and adoption and succession of the property. The fourth thing is going to be a common. When we are talking about, I was just hearing you, when you say tribals, rituals in terms of marriage is totally different. Absolutely agree. It is not coming into marriage how you are going to do the marriage. Like Hindu marriage, we do it. There's a process called our cultural marriage. Another one is the court marriage. So when we're talking about all these things coming under dispute, in case divorce is going to file, then it's going to come under some law, which is very important for all of us to understand what is the difference. We are not touching any religious sentiments, and that therefore this commission has requested all the people of India, whether it's a religion or whether it's a political,
Sanjay ji,
come for a debate.
How can you in this country, Sanjay ji, let's be realistic. I will humbly submit to you. This is a diverse country, yes, but this is also a country where religion is very important. How do you think this is going to be even possible? You know, the forefathers, the Hindu Marriage Act, the Hindu Code Bill, which Sri B.R. Ambedkar and Jawaharlal Nehru, I'm talking about, around independence, they did it. All that, there is a fear that if you inheritance, okay, because Baba Sahab did a great deal for us women when he did the inheritance bill, of course. But I'm saying that the Hindu Marriage Act, the Hindu Special Marriage Act, when all these things happen, there is religion involved in this. In this country, how are you going to segregate religion from law? You start doing this, it could be a mess. You know what is the fear? Sanjay ji, and I think journalists like you or political analysts like you should try and understand the fear. The fear is because the BJP wants a majoritarian view, it will do things which will only possibly, you know, be advantageous to the majoritarian community. So this whole thing, why? Because majority is the majoritarian community in this country. You are saying no. I love that no from you. But ek bhai hai.
Can you allow me to explain it to you? Obviously, the question, you raise the question and you have the answer of the question. When we talk about the Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu marriage, suppose Hindu from the Kashmir till Kanyakumari all are same. Obviously, we have a different rituals to do the marriage. Look at example of Rajput marriage in Uttar Pradesh, Rajput marriage in Rajasthan, Rajput marriage in, I'm just giving example, in Maharashtra is totally different. We all are Hindu. We are belongs to the same caste and same community, but our marriage patterns are different. So please understand, we need to bifurcate rituals. I'm talking about rituals. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about the rituals. Rituals are totally different. Law is totally different. Take an example. I'll give an example. Suppose I'm a Hindu. I did any crime. I murdered someone. Obviously, 302 article, section 302 will be applicable on me. If somebody else, Muslim guy is committing any murder, obviously same law will applicable for him. So we need to understand law is applicable for all the people. It's not related to one community or one religion.
Right. But,
it's applicable for the all. So we need to differentiate. We need to understand. Give me 10 seconds. We need to understand what is the law and what is the ritual. We are mixing ritual with the law.
Right.
Ritual and law cannot go hand to hand. Simple as that.
So I'm going to go to Gokul Chandran. Gokul Chandran, you know, the thing is that because this argument, right from the beginning, there has been debate on this. Why do you think it is still there? I mean, it hasn't, there is no solution inside. Yes, there is Article 44, but there is also Article 37. Yes, some states, I beg your pardon, do certain things differently. It's in the concurrent list. So should the states have the right to kind of meddle with it? They say yes, but perhaps no. So there is always a balance which has been created. What is your view? Is there a paranoia, or like Sanjay ji says, Sanjay Rana says, why is there a paranoia? Please make a differentiation between ritual and law. What is your opinion on this, Gokul?
Yeah, welcome to the
Hi.
So the basic problem here is BJP is ruling the nation, and whenever BJP tries to bring some changes, obviously it is aiming at pushing out the minorities, giving nil status to the minorities, or they want.
Go to Sanjay K. Chadda. Sanjay K. Chadda, let me tell you something that, you know, you're a lawyer. So there is codified civil laws and criminal laws. For instance, CRPC and IPC. They don't follow one law, one nation. Then why is it that it is only going to be, the argument is that let it be applicable to personal laws of various communities? Sanjay ji?
Yes, as far as the criminal law is concerned, as far as the codified civil law is concerned, which is already existing, I feel without any exception it is applicable everywhere. If there is a specific amendment, change done by that specific state. There are some even cases where some laws are not applicable into some territory.
What
this
about legal age to drink, Chadda ji? Wo to different states have different age, no?
Because yes,
then
correct.
That's different.
So,
how come?
So
no, tell me how come. You're a lawyer. No.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that exceptions are created.
Right.
Similarly, like
then what? Then the word, Chadda ji, then the word uniform is a wrong word. यूनिफॉर्म का मतलब है कि आप भी सफेद पतलून नीली शर्ट पहनेंगे, मैं जो है सफेद स्कर्ट और नीली शर्ट पहनूंगी. You know, that is uniform. I
totally agree with
then
you.
What is
as
uniform?
far as this particular, no, it will not be a uniform. It cannot be a uniform, at least in India. Why? Because we have all rights to create exceptions, and without exception, it will not be implemented. You know, even I have seen various procedures, even a court which follow the procedure in Delhi is different from what the courts at Tamil Nadu or Kerala are following. I have got this experience myself. I've seen it. So, but at At a bigger level, if you ask me, there is a similarity. If there is a suit for recovery, the same way, the court fee may be different, all those things may be different, but the same law will be applicable.
So what
As
are
far
you
as
saying,
this,
Chaddaji? Are you saying there should be uniformity in processes? Or what are you saying? You know, you are also pretty much sounding like the forefathers of the constitution, considering you're a lawyer as well. So was, you know, so were Shri Ambedkar and also Shri Nehru to a great extent. He did not practice for the longest time, but he trained to be one. So I'm asking you, are you also saying that let's keep it fluid? You know, are you saying that?
No. Law cannot be fluid.
Then?
That is very, very clear. No, what is the purpose of the law? We have to understand this. Purpose of the law is to serve the society. This is the fundamental thing. Now, once a law is made, like that is the reason there is a need of big deliberation in it. We need to sit down how, let's say a provision is made, how this provision will cater to all kind of people. If at all it is interfering in the religious rights, what will happen to Article 25 to 28, which gives religious freedom to everybody?
Yes.
So if at all this law is interfering in the religious freedom, then what will happen? There we need to, the lawmakers need to make the exception.
Right.
So this has to be explained, that if this is there, I don't think if the proper deliberation, proper exceptions are taken, nobody will oppose it.
Right.
If properly, if we talk to the Muslim community, primarily they are opposing it. The leaders of Muslim community are opposing.
Not all,
we will
sir.
say that.
Not all.
We will. Not all. Yes, I agree with it. But only I am saying that we means the lawmaker should properly inform that. Look, not at all, no interference with your religious rights.
Yeah, but there is, you know, because it's the BJP, unfortunately, I don't want to bring politics into it, but I can't keep politics out. There is a kind of a suspicion. Please wait, Mr. Chadda, let there be this. Why Muslim community, even the Mahants of certain akhadas are going to say, itni purani Sanskriti aur humko kaha ja raha hai ki jhuk jaiye. I mean, you know, we all know कि वो अपनी रोटियां सेकते हैं, sir. But anyway, it's a serious discussion, and I'll come back to you because Gokul Chandran's audio is now fixed and he's back with us. Gokul, tell me something. What is you've heard so far, you know, about what Mr. Rana said and what Mr. Chadda said. You know, both of Mr. Chadda says, we have to make exceptions, we have to keep it balanced, let's have a discussion. Mr. Rana says, why not have the UCC? What is your opinion on this? Gokul? Right, I think there is some network issue with Gokul Chandran, or he's just angry with me, doesn't want to talk to me. I wish he appears.
Audible? Am I audible?
See? Magic. Yeah, go on, Gokul. Huh.
Yeah. See, Advocate Chadda put up a point that this uniform civil code will have some exceptions. That is what they are planning. See, already our civil code, which we have adapted, which our forefathers have implemented, that also has exceptions. So what is so special about this UCC? As you rightly pointed out, there is fear among the people, not only on the religious lines. Religiously, yes, the minority community is in a fear that their faith, the religious rights will be taken away by this BJP government. Other thing is, think about the federal structure. The South Indian states, they may get affected due to few rules regarding the freedom to eat. Suddenly, if the Uniform Civil Code says the beef should be banned across India, no state can pass any separate motion or a law supporting the consumption of beef. Such fears are still there among the people.
You know, Gokul, let's just focus on the personal laws, because those are the most important. Inheritance, marriage, divorce. What is what is the fear? What do you think? I mean, what is the fear that the minority community has?
see, the minority community, especially the Muslim marriage laws, are entirely different from the Hindu marriage laws, and the
Yes,
Christian
true.
marriage laws are different. So, see, if you take out of law, see, Muslims are allowed to have, allowed to marry more than one in Hinduism or Christianity. It is not there, or our IPC doesn't permit it. So, if you take away that from the Muslims, then you have to need a consultation with these people, and they have to take on board, telling that, see, we are doing this for your benefit. This is what will be happening, and all these things should be told to them. And after
that's what Chaddaji is also saying.
deliberation,
There will be consultation, but Gokul Chandran, you know, you opened a Pandora's box, that is the Congress party with the Shah Banu case, where the onus of her maintenance was, you know, you went against Supreme Court. And I think the one thing which happened, which is good for Muslim women in this country, which involves marriage, also divorce, is the triple talaq thing which was brought about this present dispensation. So, you know, you are right, but then the Congress also is not kind of, you know, above a board, because we know what the Shah Banu did, the case did to a lot of Muslim women in this country, and we saw the kind of distress it created amongst women, where you can say talaq thrice and you can walk away. You can even send an SMS. Thank God for small mercies that we have this triple talaq law. Let me come back to you.
See, I just wanted to put in something here.
Sure.
See, you say about triple talaq and you say about polygamy, more than one marriage and all these things. Is this not happening in Hindu religion and Christianity? It is happening everywhere. If you don't see, it is not triple talaq, but then you can, we have seen many women suffering because the husbands have left them. They are not maintaining them. The husbands leave them and they
that's abandonment.
go on
Yes.
for a other marriage. See, it is not applicable to one religion.
Yeah, so God, no, so if we have a UCC, maybe there it will apply to me who's Muslim, or you who's a Christian, and someone else who's Parsi. So it is good in a way that I am not going to, because uniform civil code, the other thing is, if we want to look at uniform civil code from the prism of modernity, it has to be gender neutral. It can't be only working towards laws. It has to take the women of this country also, particularly when you talk about personal laws. Sanjay Rana ji, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Gokul. Sanjay Rana, tell me something that, you know, the whole, the debate which is there. Do you think that when you have a uniform civil code, this equality that we talk about, कि आप कहीं के भी हो सकते हैं, you and I will be equal. Do you think if we achieve that parity, how will we achieve it? Rana ji.
First of all, I was a little bit surprised when I was hearing my procedure, what he was talking about, when he said Muslim personal law, the Muslim personal law implemented in 1972. How it's implemented? Before that, it was not at all there. And who made the Hindu Marriage Act? Because somebody made the law. That's why we are all following. Why before the Marriage Act, it was not no one following the law? We need to understand what we are talking and what we are not talking. He was little bit confused between the marriage and the rituals. So when we talk about the law, if Muslims are doing marriage and any dispute is happening, they have to the court and they have to have similar law, whether it's applicable for a Hindu, Christian, Sikh, Isai, everyone. Why it cannot be applicable for the Muslim, which is number one. Number two, when he talks about, especially to the Muslims, Muslim marriage can be a different, will have a different law. But in case they are doing murder, they will have follow the Indian IPC, which is very surprising. You need to have a common law for everyone. Suppose if somebody is doing any mistake in terms of marriage and the marriage, I'm talking about dispute. Please, I'm not at all referring to rituals. Rituals you can follow is all your right. Is a fundamental right of the person those who are living in this country to use their fundamental rights and the rituals and their beliefs. We are not hampering that one. In case any dispute happen, why cannot my Muslim sister can go to court and file a case the way Hindu women are doing? Absolutely, we should have a similar law. If they are saying Muslim has to follow a personal law for marriage, why they're not using a Sharia law for the criminal one. That's the difference. If they were going to follow the Sharia law for the criminals, then what was going to happen when somebody is doing a rape, when they're doing a murder? So we need to understand what is the differentiation between the law and the rituals. Here we are a little bit confused. There was one question which you have raised to my another Sanjay brother who's a lawyer about the age of consuming alcohol. Just to give you an example, it's a law is subject in the state list under the 7th schedule of Constitution of India. Therefore, state has a right to choose whether they allow 18 years old, 21-year-old or 25-year-old. So please understand what is fall under the state jurisdiction, what is falling in national and what is falling in court. So there is a different verticals which we have created under the law. Under that, we all are governed. When we talking about, I like your one point. Why we're saying uniform? Take it some other thing. We can say that law for everyone. India is a one country, and we should have a single law or one law applicable for all the people, those who are staying here. We should not have a different law for different religion.
Sanjay ji,
we have really, rituals. We have to follow.
Sanjay ji, that goes against what is called ekta mein anekta, that anekta, that diversity.
Yeah, agree.
Uska kya hoga?
Again, you have raised the question and you have the answer. In your question, there is an answer. Please understand. When you're talking about Hindu marriage, I'll give you an example. Ekta mein anekta. When you're talking about Hindu marriage, marriage in Kashmir and marriage in Bihar is same. Both are Hindus. Both are Brahmins. Take it any caste. Both rituals are same. No. We have a different way of doing a marriage. We have a different way of doing a prayers. At least in Hindu, I'm talking about. Forget about the rest of the religion. I'm talking about Hindu. Doesn't mean we are not following the same law.
So are you saying that the Hindu? No. Let's come to the point. So are you saying that the Uniform Civil Code, when it comes to marriage particularly, will not interfere in the ritualistic aspect of a community's marriage? Like I'm from Tamil Nadu, I have no ritual which is similar to maybe yours if you are from Rajasthan or Haryana or wherever. There is no similarity. We don't cover our heads. The brides don't. I don't cover my head.
Absolutely.
You may be covering your brides, cover your head. I don't. I can't. It's against my whatever. So, no, wait a minute, sir. You have to listen. Sir, aap suniye to sahi, sir. So, the fear is that the Uniform Civil Code, because it is being furthered or propelled by the BJP, it will have a major focus on personal issues like marriage that are in line with Hindu customs, but they may legally force other communities also to follow suit. What's your response to that, Rana ji?
I'll give you answer because you have asked the question and you have the answer, but I'll give you the answer. Uniform Civil Code is applicable for marriage, divorce, maintenance, inheritance, adoption and succession. Simple as that. Marriage means it's not how you're following the rituals. Your marriage, Hindu marriage in Tamil Nadu, Hindu marriage in Kerala, Hindu marriage in Maharashtra and Kashmir, absolutely different. We are not following the same way. Absolutely agree with you. But when it comes to the dispute example, you want to give talaq to your husband or wife, want to give talaq to husband or wife, whatever, either way around. So we are following the same law, whether it's a Kashmir to Kanyakumari. The same way, the same law will be applicable in this case, whether it's the Muslim or whether it's whosoever is. So please understand, we are mixing rituals. No one is going to hamper, and nowhere it is mentioned in the Uniform Civil Code amendment.
Understood.
That ritual get changed. Please.
Yes. Chadda ji, Sanjay ke Chadda. Yeah, I mean, let me also get a ratification. Suppose, Sanjay ke Chadda, I'm looking at the practical problem. Somehow I feel the practicality of all these things is going to create a bit of a confusion, right? Now, what Mr. Sanjay Rana says is that when it comes to personal laws like marriage, like inheritance, like divorce, like maintenance, we will have a uniform code, which is uniform for you and me as women, as men, as whatever. Does that mean that the earlier laws will be reversed, or they will stand redundant? Like jo bhi ab tak we are following.
No. Those laws will be repealed. Even Hindu Marriage Act, all those acts, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act, all these acts, 5-7 acts, Succession Act, everything will go there.
Okay.
Only one code means one code will be there. And I am repeatedly saying, exceptions have great role in this law, without exception, because from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, we are full of different type of people, different culture, variety of people are living here. So exceptions are going to play a very important role if at all this comes into power.
Right. Also, Chaddaji, suppose UCC, you're talking about states, also having their own, in that exceptions or customization. Suppose a couple gets married in, let us say, Chennai, but they move to Lucknow. What UCC will they follow?
No, it has to be, this option will be given to them. First of all, like UCC will be state-wise, as Goa has its own. That is another aspect of it. But though I am of the view that it has to be one country, one law, if we are saying uniformity, then how can state can make a law? So this law will be same. Only the exceptions suiting that couple, I am again emphasizing suiting that couple. The couple will have to choose which exception they want to select.
All right, and we are getting some reactions on the issue. Let's listen to these voices.
यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड एक विवाद का विषय शुरू से ही रहा है और इस पे चर्चा स्वतंत्रता के समय से ही हो रही है, इवन जब संविधान बना तब से भी हो रही है। और अगर हम बीजेपी का मैनिफेस्टो देखें तो उनके 2014 के मैनिफेस्टो में और 2019 के मैनिफेस्टो में यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए उन्होंने एक मैनिफेस्टो में अपना एक एजेंडा रखा था। जो अगर हम 21वें लॉ कमीशन की बात करें, जिसके चेयरमैन जस्टिस BS चौहान थे, उस कमीशन का जो कार्यकाल था वो 31 अगस्त 2018 को एक्सपायर हुआ और उसी दिन उन्होंने एक कंसल्टेशन पेपर यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड के ऊपर पब्लिक डोमेन में डाला और उस कंसल्टेशन पेपर में उनका कंक्लूजन ये था कि कुछ पर्सनल लॉज में सुधार की आवश्यकता है। उसके अलावा यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड की अगर हम बात करें तो आज की तारीख में ना तो ये फिजिबल है ना डिज़ायरेबल है। ये 21वें लॉ कमीशन की जो कंसल्टेशन पेपर है उसमें लिखा गया है। अब 22वां लॉ कमीशन जो अब कार्यरत है, उनका कहना यह, उन्होंने जो प्रेस रिलीज़ दी है और पब्लिक के कमेंट्स मांगे, उनका कहना यह है कि प्रोबेबली जो पहला लॉ कमीशन कह के गया है उसको दोबारा से रिव्यू करने की आवश्यकता है और उस रिव्यू के लिए उन्होंने पब्लिक के, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ के और जो बाकी लोग हैं उनके व्यूज़ मांगे हैं, कमेंट्स मांगे हैं। मैं समझता हूँ ये एक ऐसा विषय है जिसमें सरकार भी कुछ कार्य करना चाहती है। पहले की सरकारें थी जिन्होंने ये कहा कि हम इसके ऊपर कार्य नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन प्रेजेंट सरकार ने हमेशा पार्लियामेंट क्वेश्चंस के जवाब में यही कहा है कि हम इसके ऊपर विचार कर रहे हैं।
समान नागरिक संहिता, यानी जो समानता की बात करें, एकता की बात करें, एक रूपता की बात करें, राष्ट्रीय एकात्मता की बात करें और जो संविधान सम्मत, संविधान के नीति निर्देशक तत्वों का हिस्सा हो, दुर्भाग्य से देश की स्वतंत्रता के 75वें वर्ष तक भी हम उसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर पाए। आज भी देश के अंदर ऐसे विभेदकारी कानून हैं जिनसे न सिर्फ देश के नागरिक अपितु न्यायाधीश और न्याय व्यवस्था भी त्रस्त है। अनेक बार माननीय उच्च न्यायालय और सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने इस बारे में कड़ी टिप्पणियां भी की हैं, कई सरकारों को लताड़ा भी है। अनेक न्यायालयों के निर्णय भी इसमें ऐसे बने जिसके कारण वोट बैंक की राजनीति ने उनको संसद के पटल पर पलट दिया। ऐसी सब परिस्थितियों को भी ध्यान में रखते हुए आज अगर समान नागरिक संहिता का कोई विरोध करता है तो वही विरोध करेगा जो देश के महिलाओं को अलग समझता है, बच्चों को अधिकार दिलाने से बचता है, जो देश में एकात्मता, एक रूपता का दुश्मन है। राष्ट्रीय एकता के लिए एक बहुत जरूरी एक कदम है।
जो खुद जौनसार से आए हैं उन्होंने मूल निवास के बारे में बात की, जो हमेशा से एक बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा उत्तराखंड में रहता है। और जो दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी से आए थे उन्होंने बड़ी अच्छी तरह कहा कि पहले हम लोग अपने फॉर्म पे भरते थे मूल पता और स्थायी पता। तो स्थायी होता था जो हम शहर में आ गए और मूल होता था जो हम जहाँ के मूल निवासी हैं, जो हमारा गांव है। अब वो जो डिवीजन था वो खत्म हो गया उत्तराखंड करने के बाद तो जो उत्तराखंड के मूल नागरिक हैं उनके हमेशा कंसर्न में ये इशू रहता है कि इसको खत्म क्यों किया गया या मूल निवास प्रमाण पत्र की आवश्यकता को इतना डाइल्यूट क्यों किया गया। वो कंसर्न भी वो हमारे मैंडेट में है नहीं है, लेकिन उसको भी हमने नोट कर लिया। जैसे आदरणीय हमारी चेयरपर्सन ने बताया, मनु जी ने बताया और शत्रुघ्न जी ने बहुत ही विस्तार से बताया, इस पूरे में हमारे लिए जो लोगों से संवाद करना था वो इस यूसीसी की ड्राफ्ट मेकिंग जो अभी अंडर प्रोसेस है उसका एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण अंश था।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार की हालत ऐसे ही जैसे तूफान आए और उसमें उसका जहाज फंस जाए, आधा डूब जाए, और वो छटपटा रही है मुद्दों की तलाश में। हिमाचल में, कर्नाटक में पिटने के बाद कोई मुद्दा तो आए जो उसे बचाए, उसी दिशा में ये कदम है। मैं जानना चाहता हूं कि इस पर सरकार की नीति और नीयत क्या है। मैं तो प्रतिक्रिया अपनी तब व्यक्त करूंगा जब ड्राफ्ट के शेप में, प्रारूप के शेप में ये प्रस्तुत होगा पार्लियामेंट में। पर इतना जरूर कहूंगा, ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी देश हित को कुर्बान करके हर मुद्दे पर चुनाव जीतने के लिए पोलराइजेशन कर रही है, ध्रुवीकरण कर रही है। मैं इसकी निंदा करता हूं।
You know, politicians will do what they are very good at. ध्रुवीकरण कर रही है, someone is saying कि वो लोग इसका विरोध करेंगे जो कि औरतों और बच्चों की को रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करते। I'm going to take all that and turn it over its head. Sanjay Rana, tell me something. In this country where you saw the bawal, the controversy that was created over same-sex marriage, do you think that the BJP will be able to kind of run with this? Because we saw what the court said about same-sex marriage and what the BJP said. Now this is also about, that women getting better chances. Maybe it's all up in the air right now, so we are also hypothesizing. We are saying, maybe I'll get better inheritance right. Maybe, my child will get better inheritance right if I turn to be a single woman, etc., etc. What do you think? Do you think the BJP has it in it because it struggles all the time for being tilting towards one community, Sanjay Rana?
I have a different opinion when we talk about the court and when we talk about the government. The court, obviously, whatever the law is, they make sure that these things should be implemented and executed in the right manner. This is court. When
so
we
what
talk
happened
about
to
the
same-sex marriage, sir? Same-sex. No. Why is it that I can't ask you a question, Sanjay ji?
No,
we are both friends.
Allow me to finish.
No, but I'm asking you because you're saying, sir, मुझे बता दीजिए कि आपने बोला court will say, please implement this, leave it to the executive or whatever. But the point is, we saw what happened during same-sex marriage, sir.
Okay. What I was explaining you, okay, what is the difference between the government and the court? Court will have the opinion as per the law and as per the law which has been defined, okay. The government will look at the social structure and the feelings and views of the various communities. Here, Commission has requested all the people to come with the suggestion within 30 days. This is number one. Number two, when we talk about the Uniform Civil Code, I think Congress party is absolutely confused. They are not look at the statement of Nehruji and Ambedkarji. Nehruji himself wanted this thing should be implemented between 1948 to 51. Look at, and everything is there in archive. And Ambedkarji also wanted the same tenure, 1951 to 1952. They both were wanted this law should be implemented, number one. When we talk about government, how government would like to execute, government has to, obviously, they have to discuss with the various stakeholders. They cannot take their own way and just implement any law. Obviously, it's going to be a discussion. A lot of discussion is going to happen in Parliament, and people will come with a viewpoint. Is going to be amended. I have not seen the draft of that law commission. Obviously, we need to look at the draft. Whatever the changes is required, government will do with the consulting of the various stakeholders.
Yeah, all right. But Mr. Rana, you spoke about Pandit Nehru and you spoke about Baba Sahib.
Ambedkar, yes.
Let me read it out to you. During the drafting of the constitution, prominent leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Dr. Ambedkar pushed for a uniform civil code. However, They included the Uniform Civil Code in the directive principle of state policy, mainly due to opposition. So I am saying they may have pushed, but what stopped them is not just opposition from various people, particularly, let me tell you, I have also read the archives, those who were standing on a religious pedestal and saying ki we can't do this, you can't do this. So there was a conundrum. So even now it's not as if they said ye kar lo, BJP is now saying kar lo, karna chahiye. So let me come to Mr. Chadda now, because I have completely run out of time. Mr. Chadda, then do you think that Article 25 and 29, you know, which you also quoted in the beginning, one is religious group to manage its own affairs, that is 25. 29 is my right to conserve my own distinct culture. What happens to those fundamental rights, sir, if there is a UCC which is implemented in this great country called India, which is also Bharat?
Since the beginning, my emphasis is always that we have to have a middle path. We have to really, if we want to have UCC, we should consult, sit down and have the path where it should be something that both things have to go together. Means that right we cannot, those are fundamental rights, we cannot forget. They are above than even legal rights. Fundamental rights are most fundamental. You can't change them. They are basic structure of the constitution. So they will remain, but UCC will be made as per the, that is why this consultation is happening. That is why law commission, it is not a very small thing. It is a difficult task, even for the government, I must say.
Absolutely. So, and Chaddaji, I began this conversation by saying that this debate doesn't go away. It's been there since independence. We've spoken about it, argued about it. There is a narration. You heard a very senior legal luminary just saying it is not possible to bring it about. Others say, but there is one thing, that in the, as we inch towards elections in 2024, maybe this will be Turup ka patta, I believe, from the BJP, because they say this is it. Because they have said one nation, one ration card, one nation, one rule, which is I may be living in Kanyakumari and you in Baramulla, but we follow the same rules. So it is going to be very political and less legal. I'm sticking my neck out to say this. But you know what? It's great. The one thing which is great about this country is to have a dialogue, samvad, which we were successful in having. Thank you so much, Sanjay Rana and also Sanjay K. Chadda. Like I said, the Uniform Civil Code, I do not know what they are going to do with the first word uniform. Up for discussion, and I'm sure we'll be back discussing it once they have certain framework. But meanwhile, for all the news and analysis, this is your destination. Keep watching News9 Live.
Our country faced the horrors of terror long before the world took serious note of it. Over the decades, terrorism, in different names and forms, tried to hurt India.
During COVID, we had unrelenting cross-border terrorism from Pakistan.
Tell me one problem that the UN has solved.
Fighting terrorism is a central priority for the action of the United Nations.
The UN has a fork tongue. They speak with several tongues.
India as a state has been a continuous victim of terrorism for last many decades. And it has come in different forms and manifestations. But there hasn't been a global support in India's fight against countering terrorism. Many countries woke up to terrorism only after the 9/11 attacks, when the Twin Towers were attacked in USA by the Al-Qaeda and affiliated terror organizations.
Before 9/11, all of us were confronting a terrorist in our neighborhood and otherwise the way we could do it to the best of our ability. And you know that For decades, we are having cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. But it was only 9/11 which brought home to the fact that we are now no more dealing with your terrorists and my terrorists.
But even after 25 years, there hasn't been the Convention Against Terrorism that has been adopted by the United Nations because there's been a deadlock over how terrorism can be defined. Some say that terrorism is also state-sponsored, but some say there are other elements and institutions and groups that are involved in terrorism.
People are not able to rise above their pet political beefs and come and resolutely adopt a definition for terror. And that has been a bit of a disappointment.
There are certain countries who would not like the definition to be too wide. Some others would want it to be limited. So there are many issues that have held up this convention, despite India's pushing it.
India has been a very important leading voice within the UN system, helping to push forward, first of all, the parameters of understanding of terrorism and helping to identify practical areas how the world can come together to prevent and to punish the crime of terrorism.
समय की मांग है कि UN ये तय करे कि ये चीजें हैं जिसे हम टेररिज्म कहते हैं, ये लोग हैं जिनको हम टेररिज्म के मददगार मानते हैं, ये लोग हैं जिनको मानवतावादी कहते हैं। दुनिया के सामने नक्शा क्लियर होना चाहिए, कौन टेररिस्ट है, कौन मानवतावादी है, कौन टेररिस्ट के साथ खड़ा है, कौन मानवता के साथ खड़ा है, ये विश्व में तय हो जाना चाहिए।
Whether it is prevention, whether it is conflict resolution, whether it is peacekeeping and peace building, the UN is handicapped severely by the fact that the UN Security Council is being run